This is St. Louis on the Air from St. Louis Public Radio. I'm Elaine Cha. Thanks to social media, art and entertainment from all corners of the world can end up in the literal palm of your hand. One of the earliest examples is manga and anime, Japanese comic books and cartoons that really started hitting mainstream American bookshelves and screens starting in the 1990s. That cross-cultural exchange has resulted in the development of distinct subcultures. In Japanese, the word otaku describes people who are obsessed with anime and manga. And within the Western sphere of otakus, another subculture that is becoming more mainstream is the Blerds, which is an amalgamation of black and nerd. Houston, Texas-born rapper Megan Thee Stallion, Hollywood actor Michael B. Jordan, and Grammy Award-winning guitarist Thundercat are just a few celebrity Blerds who are making it cool to be black and nerdy. Shawn Rab Fentress, a St. Louis-born and raised content creator, is part of the popularization of Blerd culture. He's accumulated hundreds of thousands of followers online for his distinct voiceovers of anime shows, which he calls hood dubs. And today, Rab, who goes by Rab So Petty, joins us in studio. Rab, welcome to St. Louis on the Air.
All right, thank you. I'm so happy to be here.
Happy to have you here. So for the less nerdy listeners, let's lay a little bit of groundwork here. So anime is a Japanese medium that is voiced over originally in Japanese.
Yes.
And then has subtitles in English and other languages for global audiences. So when it's aired or streamed in America, for example, you can often find the show dubbed in English. That means that there's an English voiceover on the show.
Yes,
Now,
ma'am.
Rab, you have built a following by taking it a step further, and you're using African American Vernacular English, or AAVE for short,
Yes.
to the anime. What was it that possessed you to do your own thing with these dubs of anime?
So for me, I think I took a lot of inspiration from other people who do like voiceovers. You've got your Ace Vane, who is a huge inspiration of mine and one of my mentors, who's done different dubs of like cartoons, like your old school Justice League cartoons. He does Scooby-Doo, all types of things, as well as people like Tony Baker, who voice over little like funny videos that you would usually catch on like America's Funniest Home Videos and stuff like that. He does dubs over those type of things, as well as just having always wanted to be in some type of voice acting. Kind of really just inspired me to start my own. Now, what specifically got me into the dubs that I am doing were two specific things. The first one was I saw I think I was on Instagram Reels or something, and I saw a dub. It's by a black creator named SSJ9K. He does mainly Dragon Ball Z content. And he has a dub that's been used as a viral sound for a few years now. I then saw a meme using the first thing that I ever dubbed, which was Gojo and Jujutsu Kaisen. Gojo versus Hanami and Jogo, who they were in a subway and they were fighting. And the meme said, me walking up to a homeless man wearing an entire bottle of Dior Sauvage, ruining his nostrils or something like that. And I said, man, I really want to just dub something like that, do a voiceover of something like that. And at that point, it was just doing it. I hit up one of my friends. I'm like, hey, I need you to say 2 or 3 things. I'll do the rest. And from there, I uploaded it, and it was history.
So before we proceed from that point, when you say that it was a meme, does that mean what you were seeing was an image with just text, and
Yes,
then you
ma'am.
wanted to make it a voice?
Exactly. I wanted to actually put that scene together and voice it, because I was like, this meme's funny, but I feel like in action it'll translate even better.
And where was it that you first uploaded that?
The first place I uploaded it was Instagram, I believe.
Okay.
I have had a TikTok following for a while, but I was kind of hitting my peak on stuff with TikTok. So I was like, you know what? I'm just going to drop this reel and just see what it does. And it blew my mind, the numbers it did.
Yeah. I mean, what are we talking in terms of numbers? And what was the response that you got? Like, what were some of maybe the comments that people were leaving?
So originally, when I first dropped it, I looked up and it was the first time I had passed, I think, like 10,000 likes. So I was at like 100,000 views or something. But the comments were going crazy. And I decided that, hey, maybe people will like stuff like this.
When you started with that first hood dub, was that what it was called? Did you decide on that name afterward? And I mean, was it a surprise to see that kind of support from the get-go?
I will be 100% honest. I did not want to lean into calling it a hood dub at all. With the way I grew up, especially being born and raised in St. Louis, Missouri, while I wasn't born specifically in the hood, I was raised in North County. I had to deal with a lot of things you would consider like just hood stuff, like people getting robbed in the streets, stuff like that, seeing bodies, all that type of things. So when people would make jokes and then just because it's black put hood in front of it,
Right.
it always used to bother me. Even with some of my favorite creators like RDC World, I'm trying to think who else, King Vader, when they would do that, it was kind of cringy to me because just because it's black, I don't think it has to equate to hood. So originally, I did not want to call it that. I think I even made a few lives talking about it. I'm like, I want to drop it, but the reason I'm going to drop it as Hood Jujutsu Kaisen is because it's going to get more clicks than just being Jujutsu Kaisen abridged, because there's already a Jujutsu Kaisen abridged. So I don't want people to confuse and mix up mine for someone else's.
So do you feel like in a way that you were reclaiming and sort of recreating what hood means?
I 100% think so. I think that because of the style that I go with and the stories that I tell, it's a lot different from it just being me using AAVE and then equating it to hood. I actually put like small things. I put
For example.
For example, perfect. My entire Hood Jujutsu Kaisen Shibuya arc is based off it's kind of based off the original anime in which during a Halloween party, all these things start to happen and villains and heroes are fighting, or the general sense of that. I made it a function, which in AAV is literally just a party, in which you see your opposition, and at that point, you guys get into it and ruin the entire party for everyone around you. These are things that I've seen in real life. I've had parties end with people fighting and or any other violence happening, because that's really things that do happen in real life. If you go into the streets and you're just having a kickback, things can change and things can get ruined. So I definitely am taking it back and creating more actual like hood tales / just black stories in it. So I definitely accredit myself for trying to take that in a different light.
In another way, right. And just to clarify, ops is
opposition, yes.
Sure.
Ops.
So basically enemies.
Yes,
Okay.
enemies, yes, ma'am.
So let's check out an example of your hood dubs. Here's a clip of your take on scenes from Jujutsu Kaisen, and in it there's been a huge fight with demons and monsters, and afterward, students Yuji and Megumi, they debrief with their mentor Gojo about how they managed to win, which involves eating a demon's finger.
Yes, ma'am.
Gojo, what the fuck you doing here?
What's happening? I was gonna go straight home from the mall, but I just knew you was getting your ass beaten. So smile for the gram. Say world star!
Playing this bitch.
Bet you won't be mad when the hoes hit you like, I seen you on Gojo's story. Can I come take care of you, man? Oh yeah, speaking of taking care of this, what happened with that whole cursed finger thing? You got
I
that?
ain't gonna lie, gang. I had the super finger, and I ate that motherfucker, cuz.
Dead ass?
Yeah, cuz.
Now, I done seen some broke ass shit in my day, but
Hey, you good, cuz?
well, damn. I guess broke will eat anything in front of them, huh? Does your body feel okay at least?
On the dead homies, I'm feeling better than ever, cuz. You nasty.
So, what is it about this scene, Rab, that lends itself to the hood dub treatment?
The thing that really leaned into this specific thing getting the hood dub treatment, honestly, some of the comments that I get from like my supporters on like Instagram and stuff like that, this was about when I dropped the original Sukuna opening.
And Sukuna is
As Sukuna is the cursed, is the king of curses, a sorcerer from centuries before in the actual Jujutsu Kaisen story, who was turned into curse tool, which curse tools are different things that you have to have curse energy. Jujutsu Kaisen is a very convoluted anime
right. So
that I try to
basically-
simplify. Pretty
so
much,
Sukuna's the big bad guy.
is the biggest bad guy in Jujutsu Kaisen who gets kind of trapped inside of Yuji, who is the main character's body. And he sometimes tries to come out and take over his body, especially in the first season. But Sukuna, when I first made the Sukuna appearance in the Shibuya arc, somebody made a comment that was like, because the whole gist of Sukuna is he's got 4 arms, so he's been sealed within, his power has been sealed within 20 of his fingers. Somebody said Sukuna needs all his fingers so he can throw up his set. A set being throwing up whatever gang he's in street terms. And I said, you know what? That is a great idea. So when Yuji inhales the first finger, I'm literally just going to have him say, because Yuji is a Crip in my universe, which is insane because he always wears red stuff, which people have been arguing with me since I first started this. But I said that he's going to throw up Crip. That one joke is a reason I will come up with one joke and make an entire scene literally around that
based
joke.
on that.
Yes.
And so speaking of, you said somebody said, and then it prompted an idea, and then people arguing, there is a whole community around hood dubs.
Yes.
And your Discord channel, and Discord's an online server or message board of sorts, is called Petty Realm.
Yes.
It has 2,000 members who are all there expressly to connect around your dubs and around anime.
Yes, ma'am.
So in addition to creating these hood dubs videos, what is it like to lead and moderate that online community of people from across the world?
I think one thing for me is I just want, in general, to create a community where blerds and just nerds alike can like live in their truth, because a lot of people didn't have that chance. So being able to like moderate an entire community of people who are like-minded, even if we don't agree with every take for anime, I love the fact that we can all come to a community and feel accepted. One thing I really push in my community is acceptance of any lifestyle that's in there. We did some small events for Pride, as well as Men's Mental Health Awareness Month. So we did those because, again, I've got people from every different community in my Discord community. So I try to make sure everybody's accepted, everybody is showing love to each other, and we're one big family. Mm-hmm. It's been so many times, and you got to understand, my community is like, Discord is 15 and older. So like, I've got people coming out of high school looking at me as a big brother and their favorite creator who are looking for guidance from me. So I'm like, hey, you guys have to be not only accepting about the people around you, but you got to understand that there are things that you can, there are mistakes that I've made that I don't want you guys to make. So I try to like be someone who can not only teach, but give you a place where you can chill. Mm-hmm. People have come in we've got one thing we have is my mental health channel. Mental health, you can come in and chat about your mental health, or you can go into our rant center where you can just vent for however long. If you need help, you can post that you need help in there. If you're just needing to rant and get it out, you can post that you just need to rant and get it out. And like, it's so many people who are like, bro, I really just, this place makes me feel good because I have a place to vent. I have a place to go and just talk about my mental not being okay. And like, that's what I wish I had growing up.
Right.
So I try to give that to not only the people my age, but the people younger than me, the people older than me, all of that. I try to do for my community how I would want to be treated, if that makes sense.
We're talking with Shawn Rab Fentress, content creator, voiceover actor, and the creative power behind Rab So Petty on YouTube, Instagram, and TikTok. Now, speaking of this community, they're also involved in how you make what you do. So how is it that you engage your online community, Rab, in your creation process?
So I really lean towards my community a lot because these are the people I'm doing this for. So I think one thing a lot of creators miss the mark on is not taking in comments from the people around them. A few ways that I include my community is one, my general chat in my Discord is like a place where people give me a million ideas at all points in time. Like, people will come in and say, hey, in season 1, when this happens, bro, you should do this. And don't get me wrong, a lot of the times, these are some bad ideas, which is okay because in a sea of bad ideas, there's got to be one good one. Along with that, I also have a role that's for voice actors, people that decide they want to be voice actors. Or like want to voice in my dubs and things. You can audition and everything. Like, I put up roles to audition for. I might make up a script or have you come with your own script. And people, I've honestly used people I've never met in my life to voice characters in some dubs that, again, I wouldn't have been able to use had I not lean to my community to like be a part of my videos. The good thing about me is most of my stuff is voice only. So like, people are comfortable sharing their voice before they share like themselves in an actual video.
Right.
So that really opens the door for anybody to possibly voice act, which is another thing I wish I had. So I want to give that to my community.
Overall, as we're talking about this online community, and it is specific to anime and to hood dubs, but for Blerd culture, what is it that people maybe like me or people who are listening today, what might they get wrong or not understand quite the way they should about Black folks and nerd culture?
So one thing I definitely think is, for the longest, just being Black and enjoying nerd culture was like something that couldn't be synonymous. Like, it was something that just didn't mix for most people. Even though a lot of like people that I know Black growing up were watching like Dragon Ball Z, but only Dragon Ball Z and Pokemon were acceptable for like the general consensus of Black people were, you can watch Dragon Ball Z, Pokemon, maybe put some Yu-Gi-Oh in there. But if you go too far, don't be sitting there like looking up stuff to watch. It just wasn't something that was accepted.
Why is that?
Honestly, nobody wanted to be a nerd. just being frank, like, you got to think about like nerds in media. The first thing you really think of is like Steve Urkel, suspenders on, these big old glasses. No, like, it just wasn't. Nerd was used in such a negative connotation that you did not want to be that. You wanted to be, I hate to say it this way, but it is like, it's what it was. Because even I did it. I think you had to put on this facade of being like this real heavy street guy, or like just trying to be popular, because that's like what you were trying to do when you were younger. So like, you just couldn't just be a nerd in peace. Like, I got bullied for anime for a while, but I just stopped caring after a while. Like,
Yeah.
at some point, like I'm as nerd as they come. Like I realized I grew up watching sub Naruto, not like Toonami dub Naruto. I grew up watching sub Naruto online, like searching for this for hours. I was in theater. I was in all these things that typically you don't want to be in because you'll be made fun of. I just at some point you just stop caring. But
Yeah.
nobody wanted to be labeled a nerd 10, 15 years ago. It looks bad.
Right, right. So do you think it is because of people like Megan Thee Stallion, Michael B. Jordan sort of coming forth as Blerds or taking that title on, that right now where we're sitting and we're talking about what you're doing, that this is no longer a subculture to look down on?
So I think that like Michael B. Jordan, Megan Thee Stallion, and these like big celebrities showing off that their Blerds was the nail in the coffin. But we had a long line of people that did stuff before that kind of really leaned into it. One group of people that I definitely will give honest props to that really were a trailblazer in the Blerd community is RDC World. They are a group of Blerds from Texas that put on literal Blerd skits. They're known for stuff like, if you know the phrase, you got caught in 4K, that's something that they came up with. So like these are guys who their first few videos that like went viral on YouTube were like, it's something about like anime theme songs going against each other. They made Black Avengers 1 and 2. They have a series called Anime House where they dress up as these anime characters and act like it's a reality TV show. Like these are the guys that really like trailblazed nerdship being cool. Like it's being okay that I watched Dragon Ball Z growing up. It's okay that I lean towards One Piece. I lean towards Naruto. Like they made it cool because you could see them talk about it and they're not in these big glasses and these suspenders or anything like that we're told is a nerd.
Right.
They're literally just showing their love for the culture while also making it a black thing. King Vader, he used to do vines and dance to popular songs dressed up as anime characters. Caleb City used to do vines and they used to be like anime based. These are all people that like trailblazed this. So yeah, I think the celebrities put the nail in the coffin because now you can't not accept that Blerds are a thing.
Right.
But these are the people that opened it up to say, hey, this is cool. Like all these jokes are funny. We can be hilarious people and love anime to death. And you can't really talk about us because you're laughing too.
So your own productions, Rab, are
Yes.
under T-Pain's. His
Nappy Boy
T-Pain's Nappy Boy Network. And T-Pain is another proud and famous Blerd. How is it that you got connected with T-Pain?
All right, this is a long story, so I'll make it a long story short.
Okay.
Shout out my guy Nando STL. I was Nando's media coordinator for 5 going on 6 years almost. And Nando was in a competition with T-Pain, and whoever won the competition would get signed by T-Pain. We lost the final round, but T-Pain loved Nando's music so much and loved just the energy he was bringing and all those things so much that he still reached out to sign him. Nando gets signed by T-Pain. Me and T-Pain also gained a relationship because I was Nando's entire like background in business. So like at the time I'm his media coordinator. I'm doing like manager things. I'm doing social media coordinator. Like I'm doing everything in the background. T-Pain had a decent sized team at the time, and like I'm whooping them something terrible. Like I'm dropping I'm dropping everything for Nando in timely fashions, like before they need it, after they need it, and it's only me working on the digital stuff. T-Pain saw that, and at the end of Nando's first album cycle, he reached out for me to become a part of his digital team.
Mm-hmm.
So originally, again, even now I still work for T-Pain under his digital team.
Right.
So that's where the relationship started when he first announced that he wanted to do Nappy Boy Network, and he wanted a bunch of shows on there, and he wants to make an app like your Zeus Network and things of that nature, where he can have original content, podcasts, things of that nature. I reached out to him and I'm like, hey, one thing I want to do is if we can have Nappy Boy content creators, where we have people like myself and like other people who are making like content can like really reach out and have a place to drop their content without having to worry about too much. We can really push the envelope forward because content creators really run the industry these days. Like
Right.
even music, like most music, if it doesn't get popular on like TikTok and things of that nature, it goes nowhere for the most part. So like if you have a group of content creators who can not only push your singles, but can push your platform forward, I would love to do that. And he was like, you gonna have a lot of work on your shoulders. And I'm like, Payne, currently, I'm going up with my dub stuff. Like it's going crazy. Like I'm gaining a huge following. And he's like, you're gonna have even more on your shoulders, but I'm gonna let you run it, rock Nappy Boy Network as much as you can. We're gonna make something really cool out of this. So I've been repping Nappy Boy Network ever since.
Yeah. So there's a lot of work that you're doing, and
Yeah.
creating these hood dubs, the videos, managing, moderating the Discord community,
Yes.
and then the other social media platforms that you're working with. I think that sometimes we glorify grind culture.
Mm-hmm.
So how is it that what is happening now, I mean, does that free you up a little bit to do something that you've so far been doing, not paid? Like this is just and I will not say just, what you've been doing because you have a passion for it.
100%.
So how does this current setup help you to continue to do that and help you like to make a living?
Well, it's I'm kind of in between just because honestly, I'm in a mind state now where as much as I am working, I am finding the ways to start making this a decent living, but it makes it easier because it is a passion. I've wanted to get into like voice acting and things of that nature for years. Now I'm at the point where who knows, a year from now, somebody can reach out to me for a show because I'm legitimately voice acting over these anime that I'm putting together, or somebody reaches out to me to do sound design or anything like that. So like now I'm in a completely different mindset. One thing I did, and I got to give my guys credit, my guy Ace Vane, who I brought up earlier, is a content creator who's been doing this way longer than me. He really started gaining fame around like the pandemic because he had a series called Justice League, and it was about the pandemic, and it was just hilarious.
Mm-hmm.
And he really changed my mind on how to grind as well as get paid what you deserve while you're grinding, doing the things that we do. And I have a completely different mindset on this. Like, I'm doing a lot. Don't get me wrong. I'm doing a lot. Like, my hands are tied completely, pretty much. But the way I work is more smarter than harder now because of tips I've been given from people who have done this way longer than me.
So there's a mentoring aspect to what you've gone through.
Oh, yes, 100%.
Do you feel like you're representing St. Louis and this part of the Midwest in a way that is special and important? You know, as someone who is a St. Louis native.
As a St. Louis native, it's hard. I'm not going to lie. It's kind of a weird place, and I'll be completely honest. It's hard. I rep St. Louis, and I'll never take the cap off. Like, they make fun of me. Some of my, like, main, like, moderators in my Discord and stuff that I talk to regularly, they make fun of me because they say I keep wearing the same hat, which I have several of these red Cardinals hats at home. Like, I've got several different ones just because I do want to show that I'm from St. Louis. But I'll be 100% honest, St. Louis is if we look at like analytics and numbers, St. Louis isn't like my top 50. They're like 48 in my top 50 supporting cities. Like, it's hard to put on for your city when your city's not even supporting you. I think this is one of the biggest supports I've gotten in St. Louis, just being able to be on STLPR. Like, that touches my heart because it is people from my city actually looking and like watching for me. But it's hard to put on. I'm gonna keep claiming I'm from St. Louis, and that's not gonna be a thing. But honestly, I don't get any support here for the most part. I'm even hosting and this is really a soft announcement because I haven't done a big announcement for it yet. I'm doing a meet and greet tour. It's called the Band for Band tour, based off a quote of mine that everybody loves. And I'm hosting these events called Anime After Dark. It's literally just me going to these different really like nightclub venues and like hosting a nerd night, like an anime night, that type of deal. And I'm doing one here, and I'll be honest, the process for it was the hardest out of any other city that I've done. I've locked in Chicago, New York, literally currently locking in Atlanta now, and the hardest to deal with was St. Louis. They made me jump through hoops to even get it set up. And it like, looking at that type of stuff really sucks.
Yeah.
So it's like, I want to rep my city as much as I can. It's hard, very hard to do, because St. Louis really doesn't want you to shine until you've left and come back, in my opinion. So I love STLPR for having me, but it's been honest hell trying to get support in St. Louis.
So how can St. Louis better support you?
Honestly, watch it. Like, I'm from here. Like, I've used our lingo and things. I got a St. Louis accent in everything I do. My S's slur every time I talk. Like, when I say her, I say her. Like, I'm from St. Louis full through and through. And like, people can hear it once they realize I'm from St. Louis. But like, I don't know. I don't know what to do to. One thing they can do, if they can pop out, all the nerds can pop out to Anime After Dark, August 31st at Java on Manchester. But other than that, I just want I want the Blerd community and just the nerd community in general in St. Louis to just show support to it. Don't get me wrong. Like, people will run up to me while I'm out in like just the city and be like, bro, you Rab? And that touches my heart. But like, when I look and like I see St. Louis isn't watching, it's like, I'm glad I get to run into the few people that are watching. But I wish more people would watch, honestly.
Yeah. So, Rob, one of the hood dubs that you've done is to an anime called Solo Leveling.
Yes, ma'am.
And Solo Leveling is in Japanese, but it is based on a Korean webtoon. So I was watching Solo Leveling, and as I was watching it, I was thinking so many different things at once. So being of Korean background, I'm thinking about what a scene would be like, what the VO would be like in Korean, as I'm hearing Japanese and reading English. So all of these things kind of going on at the same time. What kind of response have you received maybe from people who understand the original language, Japanese?
So one thing I definitely will lean into when it comes to like the different dubs, especially in different just languages. One thing, so Jinu is spelled Jinwoo. So people have been calling him Jinwoo in like different languages. Like, I think you can't even hear them saying Jinu in the Japanese dub. Like, people legitimately are saying Jinwoo. This is one name, Jinu. I said it in my dub. I have the people who do know his name actually calling him actually Jinu, how it's supposed to be pronounced. People were in my comments like, bro, why is he saying his name so weird? That's how the name is pronounced.
Right.
Literally, like, you can look this up. That is how the name is pronounced. It's not supposed to be Jinwoo. It's not two separate things. Later on, because of jokes and names in just like street culture, like rap culture, what Pop Smoke has a song called The Woo. So I leaned into like the Wu being something he ends up calling himself because everybody else around him is calling him Jin Wu. But it's such a disconnect because people are like, people will ruin a name so quickly. And I think that I wish it was leaned towards the actual Korean dub originally, but I think because they want to popularize it in the States as well as just in general,
Right.
they have to kind of lean towards making it a Japanese anime, which is, I feel like they could have went either route and it still be popular because the webtoon was super popular in the States, but I see why they went the route they went.
Right. And then the other thing with Solo Leveling, you were telling me about the serious hurdles you had to clear in order to have the Solo Leveling hood dubs even available. Can you talk a little bit about that?
So my take on Solo Leveling was Hood Solo Leveling, the Legend of Drip Woo. So at the time of me dropping that, it was really a huge thing for me because this was before I kind of changed my mindset on how I do content. And when I say any dub I have was like 20, 30 minutes because I want this to be like a huge story and like I want everything to align the right way. And I'm like working on these super long videos, and this stuff is taking me weeks. I'm talking about 3-4 weeks to finish these videos. So Hood Solo Leveling was supposed to be my break. I was supposed to drop this 40-minute video, and then I have a chance to work on a bunch of other content because that's gonna last me for the next, who knows, like month or so, because people are gonna be reacting to it. Everybody's gonna love it, all of that. Aniplex took that video down 3 days after I uploaded it. So not only was it disheartening to me, who had just worked 3-4 weeks on this project, it was also disheartening because I really needed a break. And that takes away my break because now it looks like the last thing I dropped was some Hood JJK stuff that I had dropped a month and a half before that. So it looks like I'm not even posting anything for my fans.
Right.
Aniplex took the video down, and I had to go through like full legal action to get it back up. So how copyright strikes work for YouTube, you can get 3 copyright strikes before your entire YouTube page is taken down. If they deem that you are acting against copyright laws, then they have the right to take your video down. After you get your first strike, you can respond in a legal action by making them show you the ways in which you broke copyright law. If they cannot do that within a 10-day span, then they legally have to let your video stay up.
10 days.
10 days. So originally I wasn't even going to take the chance because I didn't want to start legal action with a company that big.
Right.
This is Aniplex. I grew up watching anime distributed by Aniplex. That's a huge company. My little old me doesn't want to take on them legally. Like, that sounds terrible. But they took down a second video of mine later on. It was called Hood Dub King. It was me just showing that I have range outside of Jujutsu Kaisen. So I was doing a bunch of scenes. The anime Windbreaker, I did one scene from there, and Aniplex took that video down as well. At that point, I was pissed. Can't say it any other way. I was pissed. So I took legal action for both. Solo Leveling had been down for a month. Windbreaker had just went down. I said, you know what? I'll take the risk. We're going against this legally. I won both cases for the Windbreaker scene as well as the Solo Leveling scene. And I lost both my copyright strikes because of that. Because legally, under fair use, I can do what I do because I'm making different stories. I'm not stealing the literal anime. The only thing that they own is the visual. And I give disclaimers on all my videos that I don't own any of this animation. The only thing I own is the audio. This is a fan-based dub, and we go from there. So it was a lot.
I wanted for you to share that story because it reminds me of some of the arguments that came up when hip hop was getting its start and people were working with samples, and it was
Yep.
not meant to be a copy. What you are creating, these are original pieces. Why is that important for people to understand?
Because I think you can pay homage to these properties without it feeling like it's something stolen. It's been so many people that watch my content that say, hey, I would have never watched this anime until I saw your version of it, and I love this anime now. Like, don't get me wrong, I love Solo Leveling. It's not the most popular anime that dropped in the past year. It's just not. So, like, I'm even sending my audience to watch the original source material. Like, that is what I want to do. I want to open up people's eyes to anime they probably wouldn't have watched without my dubs or things of that nature. It's the same thing with hip hop. It's so many sounds that, like, classic albums and things of that nature that they're using these sounds from, that people go and seek after
Yes.
after they hear the original or after they hear the sample in these songs. Like, we're adding on listeners, we're adding on viewers. We're not just taking it for ourselves. I don't claim that I own Jujutsu Kaisen. I claim I own the words that come with my hood dubs from Jujutsu Kaisen, and making it easier to understand Jujutsu Kaisen because it's extremely convoluted based on the way that I tell it, because I understand how these things work, but I can dumb it down enough and make it still funny to watch. So it's not me stealing Jujutsu Kaisen. I'm adding my own story to it and making more people go and watch the original content.
So, Rab, between your YouTube channel, your Instagram and TikTok accounts, you have over 650,000 followers. And that does not include your Discord channel. So what's next for Hood Dubs, and what does success look like from this point?
Honestly, success for me, I want to open up being able to, one, make my own animation or own like series using an anime style. That's one thing I want to do by the end of the year. Another thing I'm doing, I brought it up earlier, is the meet and greet tour. I'm going to different cities that I know are in my top supporters, and honestly just going to meet people and starting like anime club nights that people can come out to, and we can just enjoy nightlife in our own way. You can hear your favorite anime intro in a hip hop beat mixed in with Kendrick Lamar's Not Like Us. Like these are things that I wish I had growing up, and really being able to establish those things. I've dropped a million different types of merch with my quotes and things on it. Like, being able to go different places and see people inspired by the things I've said, that is the main goal, and getting more people inspired to do these things. Really, somebody said it best. They're starting to see a bridge culture come back after I've done the things that I've done. I want more hood dubs. I want more abridged content. I want people to like really lean into doing these things, because at one point people were doing it a lot. Like, when I was coming up, like, I was watching several different people do the things that I do now. Probably not the same way I do it, because I do like the full sound design and everything for everything I do, because I come from film. But like, seeing more people attempt to do that and attempt to do anime content creation, that's the goal. Like, really touching the people and like really making a whole community out of this. That's the main goal for this entire year. And maybe a million subscribers on YouTube.
Okay.
That's
cool
also
mill.
up there. I hope to get my, what is it, the gold plaque or the gold, whatever it's called. Yeah, my YouTube plaque thing. I want to get that by the end of the year, but we'll see.
It's a gold play button.
Gold play button.
Right.
There we go. If I can get my gold play button with 1 million subscribers in my first year of ever doing content, I'll be extremely happy. But if I don't, I know I'll get close. I'm already at 300, almost 300,000 on YouTube. We're trying, at least.
Right. 2 last questions.
Yes, ma'am.
Does T-Pain really have a mansion in Wisconsin?
He has a mansion in Wisconsin tour and Wisconsin Fest.
Okay.
But actual home in Wisconsin, I don't thinks, so I haven't seen it.
And then that last question is, how do I audition for Hood Dubs?
So the easiest way to do it is this. If you join my Discord, which you can go on my Instagram and see the link for it. If you join my Instagram, after you've joined my Discord server, the Petty Realm, the easiest way to do that, we've got a role set up. You can grab as many roles as you want, from being able to see all the PlayStation players to being able to show that you're a manga head or whatever you like. You can pick a role in there. There's a role called voice actor. You click on that role. There's a whole channel specifically for voice acting. We've got auditions all the time because I'm doing 1,000,000,001 projects right now. Especially any of my ladies out there, I need voices. I hate doing women's voices because it kills my throat.
Okay.
I have a very deep voice. Going up a few octaves kills me.
Right.
So honestly, that's the easiest way. Or just reach out to me. I'm always looking for people because it keeps it fresh if people are hearing voices outside of mine. I'm just writing the scripts. So I always love to do it.
And we'll include a way for people to hit you up on our web post.
Sounds good to me.
Shawn Rab Fentress is a content creator, voiceover actor, and the creative power behind Rab So Petty on YouTube, Instagram, and TikTok. Shawn, thank you so much for joining us today.
Thank you. I'm very glad that you guys had me. Thank you so much.
This episode was produced and edited by Maya Norfleet.
Our audio engineer is Aaron Dorr. This podcast was mixed and edited by Aaron.
Our executive producer is Alex Hoyer.
St. Louis on the Air is a production of St. Louis Public Radio. Understanding starts here.
Do you find yourself regularly listening to episodes of St. Louis on the Air? Suggest us to a friend you think might enjoy our conversations, and leave us a review and rating on Apple Podcasts on the App Store. It's the simplest way to help people discover our show. Thank you.
St. Louis Public Radio is a member-supported service of the University of Missouri St. Louis.
The Gateway brings you the day's news each weekday from around the St. Louis region and the state capitals in Jefferson City.
Our schools are accredited. We don't need this bill.
And Springfield.
How many more years must pass before lawmakers see time is of the essence?
I'm Abby Larico. Join me each weekday for The Gateway on the STLPR app or wherever you get podcasts.